Cool and cute E.Sports female anchor x cold-faced black villain, Zhou Yiyao x Qin Yan, after her rebirth. The first stage of the variety show in which Zhou Yiyao participated was Rocket, the first person to divorce. He also gained a large number of fans by relying on his esports skills and a pure and charming face. The villainous actor who originally had a cold face towards everyone began to change, not only doting on her in every way, but also extremely protective in the show, even using caution. Zhou Yiyao sat in the driver's seat, while Qin Yan pretended to be motion sick and sat in the passenger seat. After discovering that the little tail behind him was missing from the mall, Qin Yan decisively went to the service desk. Broadcast a missing person notice below. Zhou Yiyao child, your brother is waiting for you at the service desk on the second floor. Zhou Yiyao, whose name was pronounced, trembled and her shameful face turned red. Before Qin Yan fell in love. Men want to work, careers, women don't get involved. After Qin grew tired of falling in love. Sobbing, injured, crying, and needing his wife to cry in order to recover keywords of the novel. Variety show. After divorce, I joined the CP team of the villainous film Emperor without a pop-up window. Variety show. After divorce, I joined the CP team of the villainous film Emperor. Download the complete set of TXT. Variety show. After divorce, I joined the CP team of the villainous film Emperor. Read the latest chapter. Who is the third party in Chapter 1? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who is the third party in Chapter 1? At the beginning of the night, the guests of Apartment Slow Life are recording. Zhou Yiyao sat on the beige sofa in the villa, having a three-person date. She listened to the ambiguous conversation between a man and a woman, not only not treating herself as a light bulb, but also calmly picked up her lotus pink bag on the sofa. How did Miss Zhou feel about the experience of the three-person date this time? Didn't you realize you looked like a three? Lu Lian leaned back on the sofa, raised an eyebrow, sneered, and put her actions on the table. Eating, sleeping, looking for a boss. Oh my goodness, are you playing so much? Even straight balls, how dare you say it? Nian Nian little angel. Lu Lian really broke through Zhou Yiyao's white lotus flower with just one sentence. His tea tasting ability is perfect. I can trust him with Nian Nian. Wo Li Heng. He, who said it's not? Even though it was Tang Nian invited by Lu Jian, Yiyao intervened this week. Can't you tell that she doesn't like her? She's convinced, is she mentally disabled? The other party is typing. What do you know? A boss, a model, and a mediocre anchor who doesn't know which platform to live on. Of course, the traffic can be a little bit more. Stop hitting me, it's soy sauce. Mr. Ba is so talkative, his values are still positive, he has become a fan. Zhou Yiyao glanced at the surveillance footage inside the room indifferently, without even thinking. The barrage in the live broadcast room was now filled with curses at her. But since she has lived a lifetime again, she can no longer let them slaughter her. As she was about to answer, she suddenly paused in her clothes and a pitiful little face rushed into her sight, grabbing the corner of her clothes. Sister Yao Yao, don't mind. He just has dim sum, so don't think too much. Zhou Yiyao slightly wrinkled her nose. The person in front of her, who blinked her watery eyes and bit her lower lip to persuade her, was her good friend whom she had been with for 5 years, Tang Nian. A harmless face for humans and animals. After experiencing the events of the previous life, she turned her stomach. When Tang Nian was unpopular in the early days, it was she who arranged for someone to answer her advertisement. But she not only pried her husband, but also instigated him to cause her wrist to accidentally tear. It's disgusting to still be in this tea language. Zhou Yiyao felt disgusted in her eyes and slapped the woman's hand away with a strong force. Don't touch me. Tang Nian's fair hands immediately left a red mark on the back. She immediately shed a few tears from the corner of her eye and explained, I'm sorry, Sister Yao Yao, I didn't mean to. How pitiful it may be. Zhou Yiyao smiled at this operation and said, You're quite sorry to me, Tang Yan. Tang Yan was taken aback, as if he was quite frightened by her words. Shaking her shoulders slightly, she bit her lower lip tightly and shed tears. What were you doing just now? Just keep thinking and apologize to her immediately. Lu Jian didn't expect Zhou Yiyao to take action against Tang Yan. In response, he stood up and stared at the woman, grabbing her wrist tightly and shouting loudly. Zhou Yiyao frowned at him. The face in that memory is no longer perfect, and even the expression is twisted and ugly at this moment. Sure enough, after waking up, the more she looked at the man in front of her, the more ominous it became. In the previous life, she actually became a romantic brain for this kind of man. It's extremely ridiculous. Who should apologize, don't you know, Lu Jian? Zhou Yiyao's words were resounding, and his cold and unfamiliar tone inevitably made him shake his mind. Subconsciously, he released the hand that had imprisoned her. With a loud bang. The director of the studio squinted his eyes at the big screen, and in an instant, his pupils dilated a bit. He got up from the lying cloth chair in a moment of excitement. On the screen, Zhou Yiyao's expression remained calm as she stood up and flipped through her bag to find a red notebook. She slammed it heavily onto Lu Jian's face and instantly drew a bloodstain. The red notebook also fell onto the transparent black coffee table. It seems that it is often opened by people. After flipping through the red notebook in front of the camera for a while, it stopped on the page of the wedding photo. A photo of Lu Jian and Zhou Yiyao with a red background and white shirt. Zhou Yiyao lightly tapped the photo on her marriage certificate with her fingertips and asked, Open your dog's eyes and see clearly. Who is the third party? The air in the huge living room was instantly frozen. The matter was exposed in front of the public, and Tang Yan and Lu Jian's expressions were extremely varied. The number of people in the live broadcast room has reached the latest height, crowded with onlookers, constantly scrolling bullet comments, and Weibo has also made it to several hot search terms. Lu Lian's fingers twisted with a creaking sound, and he never expected that the obedient woman who had been secretly married would do such a thing. He glared fiercely at Zhou Yiyao, even with red eyes, pointing at her and shouting angrily. You crazy woman, do you know what you're doing? He never imagined that this woman would carry their marriage certificate with her, and now, he dares to say such things. Crazy, really crazy. And Tang Yan's face beside him was filled with fear. She finally climbed to where she is today, and she must not let this ruin her modeling career. In desperation, Tang Yan could only stare wide-eyed and pretend to be very surprised. Feeling aggrieved, he looked at Lu Jian and lowered his head to suppress the tears in his eyes. I'll go out for a while, he said. She stood up unsteadily from the sofa, wiped away her tears, and quickly walked out, only one step away from the place. Unfortunately, Zhou Yiyao did not give her this opportunity. Zhou Yiyao turned her head to look at her and asked with a good temper, Where are you going? Faced with questioning, Tang Yan's heart was pulled up to her throat and she had to turn her head to show a forced smile. If you have something personal to say, I'd better avoid it for a while. Zhou Yiyao recognized her implied meaning and raised her eyebrows. She didn't intend to let her go just like this. When I became a bitch, I still want to build a memorial archway. How can such a good thing happen? Zhou Yiyao suddenly chuckled lightly and lightly. How can it be considered a personal matter? Miss Tang is so forgetful of important people. I remember when I got married, your bridesmaid dress was specifically designed by a designer for you, right? Just a few words caused a huge uproar in the live broadcast room, and Tang Yan's face became extremely ugly. Zhou Yiyao, who has always been devoted to herself, suddenly changed her attitude, leaving her at a loss. Zhou Yiyao, have you had enough trouble? Lu Jian's angry voice brought Zhou Yiyao back to her senses, almost forgetting her original purpose. She neatly stuffed the red notebook into the pink little bag, with a smile on her lips. Bring your household registration book tomorrow and see you at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Whoever doesn't go, who is the grandson? She emphasized the last few words, without giving everyone a chance to react, and went away. The backstage director watched the program's ratings rise straight, touching his plump belly and laughing uncontrollably. Apartment Slow Life is a slow variety show that records the lives of 6 guests who have achieved success in different fields under the same roof. But who could have imagined that Zhou Yiyao, who was originally the least conspicuous and idle all day, would give him such a surprise? They have the right to follow through on the theme of divorce tomorrow. Are you afraid there won't be any ratings? The female protagonist had a romantic brain in her previous life, but later she was reborn as Shuangjie. There will be an explanation later. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Miss Zhou, you have nosebleeds. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Miss Zhou, you have nosebleeds, the tonsils never speak. I rely on me, an epic reversal, they actually got married, Ying Stan. I'm so foolish, my family. It hurts so much to hit me in the face, and my worldview has collapsed. Tang Yan used to be Zhou Yiyao's bridesmaid, but she was so confused here that she couldn't even hold a urea bag. Beauty hero. Eating melons in the front row, I originally came to see it for Qin Wei. Who knows that this first issue is directly Rocket, which is too much information, isn't it? Centenarian stealing home. Can't this be a script? So bloody. Eating, sleeping, and looking for a boss. No matter what, if I don't watch the divorce live broadcast tomorrow, I'll give this program a 1-star negative review. Each guest in this variety show has a separate live broadcast room, with a cameraman. But as long as the guest's time is full, the live broadcast room can be closed. Zhou Yiyao has not finished broadcasting today because she doesn't want to expose her family's situation. She has to stay in the apartment until 9 o'clock before she can go home and get her household registration book. In order to avoid encountering other guests, she walked around to the indoor swimming pool and glanced over, but no one was there. After ignoring the exclusive camera guy, Zhou Yiyao simply sat by the pool. The bright moonlight shone through the skylight and landed on her slender eyelashes. The canvas shoes were taken off and thrown aside. The delicate and fair toes touched the water surface, creating ripples. Until the waves of coolness in the water came, Zhou Yiyao felt that the world before her had become a bit more real. After experiencing the betrayal of her previous life's best friend and her husband's infidelity, she was completely sober after being reborn and only wanted to pursue a career. Thinking of this, Zhou Yiyao lowered her eyes and tentatively moved her wrist, with a hint of joy flashing in her eyes. It seems that the previous surgery was very successful, and the wrist has almost recovered. Still immersed in the longing for the future, she suddenly caught a glimpse of an indistinct shadow in the water, getting closer and closer to her. Wait a moment, there shouldn't be a piao here, right? Hey! Zhou Yiyao instinctively pulled out her calves from the water, and her wet toes just stepped on the smooth tiles, slipping and falling directly into the pool. With a splash, water splashed everywhere. The pool in the evening caught a chill, and Zhou Yiyao couldn't help but shiver uncontrollably. She squinted her eyes in the water and instinctively headed upstream. In front of her, there was a dazzling scene, and then the tip of her nose collided with an unknown object. In pain, she choked on water several times and couldn't help but panic and fall down. The camera guy on the shore saw that something was wrong, so he quickly turned off the camera and prepared to go down to catch people. The next second, 2 people emerged from the water. Zhou Yiyao was hugged by someone, feeling weightless all over her body, subconsciously hooking around the neck of her predecessor. The hormones that belong to men instantly envelop her, and coupled with being too close, the areas touched by her skin feel as if they have been burned. Qin Yan accidentally caught a glimpse of the light-colored T-shirt she was wearing, which had already been soaked by the pool water, and a pair of sparkling white shirts were visible. He quickly moved away, with only a hint of peach pink on his ear tip. Sorry, the male voice was slightly hoarse. Zhou Yiyao regained her senses and was about to say something, but her gaze involuntarily fell on his cheek, causing her gaze to stagnate. The bright moonlight shone on the man's broken eyebrows, and a pair of dark pupils blended with the night, emitting a hint of danger. As if finely crafted, the facial features are almost impeccable, but when combined, they form an iceberg face without any warmth. So fierce she swallowed her saliva and shrank her neck in fear. What kind of variety show did you sign up for, and why did the gang leader also come to participate? Taking advantage of her wild thoughts, the man had already lifted her out of the water and placed her firmly on the ground. Zhou Yiyao regained her senses and quickly thanked him, only to realize that her iceberg-faced figure Xiang the muscle lines appear particularly distinct against the backdrop of light, with narrow shoulders and waist, and water droplets inappropriately flowing down his undulating chest towards the abdominal muscles. The untimely hoarse sound echoed in the quiet space, captivating her soul and undoubtedly reminding her. Miss Zhou, you have nosebleeds. Zhou Yiyao didn't expect to embarrass herself first, so she quickly withdrew her gaze and covered the tip of her nose. Just as she was about to argue, a dry towel landed on her head, a vast expanse of white. Miss Zhou, are you okay? Wipe it off quickly and don't catch a cold. The camera guy is extremely nervous. One actor, one traffic password for tomorrow, he can't afford both. Quickly handed towels to the two people. Zhou Yiyao coughed twice and her face under the towel was already wrinkled with shame. I'll go handle it first. She wrapped a towel around her already flushed face, quickly picked up the canvas shoes by the pool, and headed to the bathroom. Looking at the woman's hurried escape, Qin Yan's lips held a faint smile, indescribably sexy. Thinking of her panicked appearance just now, he pulled off the towel beside him and wrapped it around his waist, then his eyes became somewhat indifferent. Are you still live streaming? The cameraman was taken aback, stunned by the powerful aura of the man in front of him, to be honest. I just saw her fall from the pool and didn't come up. I was afraid she wouldn't be able to swim, so I turned it off. Zhou Yiyao rushed into the restroom, constantly washing her nose with water, but her mind uncontrollably reproduced the muscular lines of the man she had just seen, her cheeks burning red. At first, she was able to brainwash herself because the tip of her nose hit something. Looking at a face in the mirror that seemed cooked, Zhou Yiyao shook her head seriously and seriously. It's okay, Zhou Yiyao. Don't steal, don't smoke, don't drink, don't dance. Look at your muscles and there's no problem. You just made a mistake that an ordinary woman would make. Thinking of this, Zhou Yiyao couldn't help but feel a chill. Fortunately, in the previous life, Lu Jian was completely devoted to Tang Yan and never touched herself. She looked a little unlucky and turned her face. Zhou Yiyao went back to her room and took a shower, then asked for leave from the director's team to go home and get her household registration book. After obtaining permission, she walked out of the villa and happened to encounter Lu Jian and Tang Yan. Zhou Yiyao ignored the gaze of the dog and the man and woman, and after making a phone call, she sat straight in a Maybach before disappearing into the darkness. Lu Jian's eyes were burning with anger. He had just walked back with Tang Yan, and this weak Yiyao dared to ignore him. But the thought of getting divorced tomorrow gives me an indescribable sense of strangeness. Brother Jian, don't take my words at night seriously. It's all Zhou Yiyao's fault. Tang Yanwei pulled the man's sleeve with Chu Baba, charming and charming. Lu Jian regained his senses and touched her head, comforting her softly. It's okay, I've already had people remove all the hot searches, it's okay, he said. Tang Yan breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing this and then asked again. Brother Jian, what should she do if she says she wants to divorce you? A hint of hesitation flashed in Lu Jian's eyes, quickly dissipated, and he spoke up promising. Don't worry, I'll go divorce her tomorrow. I'll also handle it at home. Give me some time, and I'll marry you. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Divorce. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Divorce. The next day, a large group of camera boys gathered at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. At this moment, Lu Jian was wearing a tall suit and leaning against a Mercedes-Benz, impatiently glancing at the Rolex on his wrist. "Brother, do you think Sister Yao Yao won't come?" Tang Yan sat in the passenger seat feeling a bit worried, as she was about to approach a wealthy man. She naturally didn't dare to slack off until the last step. However, a moment later, an extended version of Lincoln appeared at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. The people in the car got off one after another, with a wealthy demeanor. The audience who followed the live broadcast went crazy when they saw this. Centenarian stealing home. What the hell, I thought yesterday was a script, but today I actually live streamed to get my divorce certificate. Damn it, this variety show is going to explode. This assassin is not very calm. What kind of wealthy second generation is Zhou Yiyao? Why haven't I heard about it before? I'm blind now. What else is unsatisfied about Lu Jian? What else is unsatisfied about Lu Jian? Slum representative. Wait a moment, upstairs. Since Zhou Yiyao divorced, should I have a chance? My father.in.law, take a look at me. Hot Qin Yan. It's outrageous. Is it necessary to have so many people for a divorce? Those who don't know think they're here to get married. Lost and blackened. No, on the day of their divorce, Tang Yan came to join in the fun. Is it really like what is said online that she is the third Dao Hao kidney deficiency child? Can't Tang Yan and Lu Jian be just friends? Some people have really dirty hearts. Lu Jian's eyebrows furrowed. Isn't it divorce today? When Zhou Yiyao got married, none of her family came. Why are so many people here now? Is it that this woman knew she was wrong and called her parents over to be lobbyists? If that's the case, it's not impossible to consider forgiving her. The second he saw Zhou Yiyao get off the car, he widened his eyes even more. Zhou Yiyao is different from usual. At this moment, she is wearing a leather skirt with a suspender, revealing her proud career line. Her fragrant shoulders are white with powder, like a perfect porcelain doll that will shatter when pinched. The childlike feeling on her face remained unchanged, pure and lustful, and this strong contrast made Lu Jian unable to move his eyes. Beautiful and captivating. Tang Yan saw Zhou Yiyao's outfit and enviously bit her lower lip with blood stains. Lu Jian regained his composure and became even more determined that this woman was here to seek forgiveness. "Oh, I really did everything I could for myself." He let out a light sigh and approached Zhou Yiyao in a self-proclaimed handsome posture, giving her a seductive smile. "Regret it? I didn't insist on getting divorced, did I?" Before Zhou Yiyao could retaliate, the tightly wrapped woman behind her couldn't bear to watch. "No, wait a moment. Are you okay, surnamed Lu? What kind of daydreaming are you doing in broad daylight?" Sister Zhou Sini's face was tightly wrapped, but her eyebrows were twisted together. If it weren't for Yao Yao saying she couldn't use force, she would really want to play Wing Chun on this dog man's face and beat him into a pig's head. Whether she will be on hot search or not, and whether her love life will be damaged. What the hell is that? Just eat swan meat once, still trying to take advantage of your silly sister. The Zhou family and their group didn't have a good expression, and their elder brother Zhou Zhuo clenched his fists tightly with an expression of really wanting to find someone to beat him up. Lu Jian's face was somewhat suspicious, and he licked his lips. "Didn't your family come to persuade me to reconcile with Yao Yao?" This sentence completely angered the Zhou family, and Zhou's father let out a cold snort before taking out his phone and making a phone call on the side. Iron pot stewed goose. "My mom, Mr. Lu Jian's character is a bit exaggerated, isn't it? I'm so greasy. I'm getting older and can't stand this. 200 yuan scammed in online love. Confusing speech. I suddenly don't understand why Zhou Yiyao would marry such a person." Number 7 Coriander. Upstairs, you're not alone. Little face yellowing. Today's divorce, Zhou Yiyao is like a different person. I didn't even notice before that she has such a good foundation and a good figure. Nian Nian Xiao Angels. Laugh to death, isn't her identity as a host in the program. There are naturally many ways to please men, Ying Stan. Les Yin Yang Weiqi, when was there still occupational prejudice, right? Zhou Yiyao remained indifferent, holding the necessary documents for handling the procedures without saying a word, and was the first to enter the Civil Affairs Bureau. What? Lu Jian never expected that Zhou Yiyao was dressed so beautifully today, and she really came to divorce her. His expression darkened as he looked at her back, feeling a bit reluctant. He turned his head and glanced at Tang Nian, the co-pilot. Without comparison, there is no harm. The divorce process proceeded quickly, and it didn't take long for it to end. Zhou Yiyao rubbed the divorce certificate in her hand, her eyebrows and eyes curved. She was finally free now. And Lu Jian, who should have been excited, couldn't be happy at all as he looked at the 3 big words on the divorce certificate. He looked at Zhou Yiyao's position with some reluctance, and the whole family was happy, chatting and laughing. The phone rang, and Lu Lian listened to the curses coming from the microphone, which made him feel a bit at a loss. How could it be, how could she bear it? After hanging up the phone, Lu Jian walked fiercely towards Zhou Yiyao and was about to grab her wrist when he was caught by Zhou Zhua. He has forgotten about the camera shooting. If it weren't for someone blocking him, he would have to take action. Zhou Yiyao, you crazy woman, did you take back the house just because you divorced before? Lu Jian exclaimed with great excitement, do you know that my family's economy has been poor lately and I even stopped the project? What can I eat with? The phone call just now was made by his mother at home. The main project of Lu Group is backed by the Zhou family, and once it stops, the funding chain will instantly break and it is on the verge of bankruptcy. Although Zhou Yiyao doesn't know anything about the project, she knows very well about the house. Lu Jian, once we get divorced, we'll settle the matter. The house in the north is my parents' name, so I naturally want to take it back. And since we got married, have you been living in that room with Tang Nian? If you want it, it's okay. I'll tell my parents and sell it to you at the market price. Centenarian stealing home. Damn it, it's really Tang Nian. Listening to me, my fists are already hard. Can this scumbag still appear on the show? It must be banned. The world is drunk. I'm really convinced. Some people shouldn't be too eager to bite. Zhou Yiyao has given you enchanting soup. What does she say? Number 7 coriander. Eat melons rationally, but from yesterday's filming, it seems that this Tang Nian is not a good bird. Zhou Yiyao's words were flawless, and he knew he was wrong. But how could she take advantage of the poor state of the company and take advantage of the situation? The Zhou family only heard Zhou Yiyao say that Lu Jian had an affair. How could they expect him to achieve such a level? Zhou Zhua, who was already full of anger, raised his hand and wanted to take action. Before he could carry it out, he heard an extremely crisp slap. Pop. Lu Jian was slapped and took several steps back, covering half of his fiery face. After seeing the person's face clearly, he couldn't believe it. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Coix Seed Replays, Qing returns. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Coix Seed Replays, Qing returns, anti. The woman in front of me was panting heavily, as if she had just arrived. You're really embarrassing. Do you know what you've done to the Lu family now? Grandpa is so angry with you that he's hospitalized. The woman was indignant, and she saw Zhou Yiyao's kindness to the Lu family in her eyes. The outside world said that Lu Jian had married a good wife, but who knew that Lu Jian had actually done such a thing? What a shame to the Lu family. Zhou Yiyao ignored the farce over there and, like no one else, after calming her family, got into the special car of the production team and returned to the apartment. After a while, it appeared on the hot search. Hashtag Zhou Yiyao and Lu Jian divorce hashtag Zhou Yiyao, Lu Jian, Tang Yan hashtag Tang Yan is suspected to be a mistress hashtag when the entry came out, followed by a big explosive word, the director of the production team was already dumbfounded. This special thing is too explosive, can it be broadcasted directly? Not only the director, but also the audience were dumbfounded. They thought yesterday's divorce was already explosive enough, but who knew there were other people today? As qualified melon-eating netizens, many people have started to uncover the inside information. All kinds of signs indicate that the third party is likely Tang Yan, but there is not enough photo evidence, and rumors spread online for a while. Zhou Yiyao returned to the bedroom of the apartment, and her phone had already been knocked out. Yao Yao, did you really divorce Lu Jian? The voice across from the microphone was extremely excited, as if it had been eagerly anticipated for a long time. Yeah, my sisters have finally escaped the hardships and can focus on their careers. She sat in front of a desk, playing with the pen on the desk. The caller is Zhou Yiyao's agent, Sister Zhu. At first, she was very shocked when she saw Zhou Yiyao rushing onto the hot search, so she called her to verify. I didn't expect it to be true, this woman finally woke up. A year ago, when the game live streaming industry was in high demand, Zhou Yiyao resolutely chose to suspend broadcasting. Just for a man. After learning the truth, Sister Zhu advised her many times in private, but this dead woman just didn't listen. A few days ago, Zhou Yiyao was scolded all the way on the show because this man insisted on participating in a variety show. The company has decided to give up on her, but today things have unexpectedly turned around. After a moment of thought, Zhu realized that since Zhou Yiyao's variety show was about to land on the edge, why did she get divorced? She tentatively asked, Yao Yao, will we continue to participate in this variety show? Join, why not join? Zhou Yiyao's answer was almost spontaneous. She not only wants to make the dog man and woman pay the price, but also takes this opportunity to return to the audience's sight. This variety show was originally designed to expose the behind-the-scenes lives of various professions. So, while she live streams, plays games, and records variety shows, isn't she making two profits? Do you want to disturb her and make money to let her go? There's no door. A worried voice came from the microphone, Yao Yao, don't try too hard. How did your wrist recover? Zhou Yiyao agreed and said, it's almost done. We can start the normal live broadcast tomorrow. Seeing this, her live broadcast room exploded again. The tonsils never speak. What kind of anchor is Zhou Yiyao? Why haven't you heard of it? Even the smallest anchor can be found by netizens, why is there no information at all? Number 7 Coriander. That's right, netizens, hurry up and chop it. Eat melon. JDP, if two, please go deep. Zhou Yiyao's background is not simple. According to my analysis, is it possible that the car she divorced this morning, including her family, is it possible? I mean maybe she is actually a wealthy second generation. Listen to your words. Shut up. Just clicked on the promotional materials of the program team, which said there was nothing besides the anchor. It's too mysterious. Do you think she might have been protected? Netizens were discussing frantically, but Zhou Yiyao looked unaware as she only wanted to make money now. Zhou Yiyao toured the variety show room and not only did she not find anyone, but she also did not notice the presence of a computer. Some internet cafes had poor environments, so she might not even be allowed to shoot. After much thought, she had to go find the director. What, you're going to live stream playing games at an internet cafe? The director stared at Zhou Yiyao in front of him with stuttering eyes. At the time of registration, he thought Zhou Yiyao was stunning and an unknown young anchor, but now after searching according to what she said, the director is completely dumbfounded. He couldn't believe that the person standing in front of her was actually a legendary anchor in the gaming industry. 2 years ago, there were already 20 million fans online, far exceeding the majority of model Tang Nian. Zhou Yiyao's eyebrows and eyes curved, with a sparkling light. Director, I haven't shown my face playing games for so long, do you understand? Director. Soon, Zhou Yiyao was transported by the special car of the production team to a private room in an internet cafe. She lowered her eyes and fingertips over the keyboard, suddenly feeling a bit dazed. This is her first time touching a computer in 2 years. After turning on the computer, she skillfully logged into a live streaming account and immediately entered the interface of a gunfight game. The other party is typing. I'm laughing to death, I'm actually a game host. Can you be a bit outrageous? Wo Li Heng. Tisk, it's really a show. It's obvious that they're here to take photos. To be honest, girls don't have any skills in gaming, except for whimpering and begging their brother to take them flying. They don't know anything. Li Liuan Shangpu. Are you sick upstairs? It's been some time now, and your mind is wrapped in footsteps. Daohao kidney deficiency child. I'm telling the truth, and this gunfight game is really difficult. Let's just say that. A little girl like her might not even be able to hold a gun, hahaha. Online dating caught 5,000 times. No, wait a moment. Look at Zhou Yiyao's live stream ID, I'm stupid. She's actually the game god, Job's Tears. Strange thief's misconduct. I'll go, it's really true that Job's Tears, which has been suspended for a year, has returned to live streaming. Yi Qing returns. Tears run. JDP, Job's Tears sticker. I'm dead. I always thought Job's Tears were a boy. Why doesn't she show her face when she looks so beautiful? Frog goes to Mustard Handsome. But didn't someone say before that Job's Tears was discontinued because of its black technology? The barrage surged wildly, and the entire live broadcast room was boiling with excitement. The number of people reached a new high, and the name Zhou Yiyao once again appeared on Weibo hot searches. Qin Yan had just finished filming a certain magazine, and his eyes were a bit tired, as if he hadn't slept well yesterday. I wanted to take a break, but his phone beeped out of place, indicating that the anchor he was following had started broadcasting. The title says that the host is rebroadcasting. Today is a live broadcast, and I will always be with everyone in the future. A hint of astonishment flashed in Qin Yan's eyes. He only follows her as the anchor. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Opinions Zhong Qin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Opinions Zhong Qin. He only follows one anchor. Qin Yan held his phone tightly in his arm, veins spreading all over his back, and then took out Bluetooth earphones from his shirt pocket. Connect your phone and click into the live broadcast room. After seeing the familiar face, a smile flashed in his eyes and he breathed a sigh of relief, unable to suppress the upward movement of the corner of his mouth. Agent Wei Yan sucked a cup of milk tea in his hand, looking at his rare joy, and leaned in front of him. Just as he was about to say something, he saw the camera guy on the side taking pictures of him. He had to pout and type what he wanted to say into the WeChat dialog box. Pure-hearted male Gao. Brother, why are you laughing so happily? Why, Job's Tears live streamed. Wei Yan was a bit surprised to hear this name. Because the last time I heard it was a year ago, when my cousin said that this person named Job's Tears was very skilled in playing games, he even took a look. Unfortunately, the other party neither showed their face nor spoke, although their skills were indeed quite good. Pure-hearted male Hi. Are you so fond of this anchor named Coix? Are you not afraid that she is a man? Then Wei Yan thought of something else. Looking at the man beside him, the alarm rang loudly, and his fingertips quickly tapped on the phone screen. Pure-hearted male Hi. Brother, you won't be giving this anchor gifts, will you? With 2 messages popping up on his phone screen, Wei Yan almost made him spit out the pearl in his mouth. Why, I am the top scorer. Why, and I have her WeChat friend. Wei Yan looked at the man beside him incredulously, with a face full of madness. Pure-hearted male. Hi. Cousin, are you crazy? Aren't you afraid that the other person is a stingy guy who will cheat you out of money? Pure-hearted male. Gao. Let me tell you, there are those who pretend to be miserable and call you to buy tea. Don't buy it. Pure-hearted male. Gao. Also, as a public figure, what should you do if you encounter illegitimate food and fishing? Qin Yan calmly replied with his phone. Why, I have met her. Pure-hearted male. Gao. What? You have such a busy schedule every day that you still have time to meet someone, meet a netizen. Pure-hearted tall man. But then again, how does she look? Wei Yan observed Qin Yan's reaction with ill intentions, only to see his eyes dim slightly. Qin Yan didn't pick up the conversation and remembered the way Zhou Yiyao looked at him last night, as if a mouse had seen a cat. He was typing word for word on the WeChat dialog box, very focused. Why am I very aggressive? Wei Yan couldn't figure out whether it was a distortion of human nature or a decline in morality. Why could he ask such a serious question? Pure-hearted male. Hi. Otherwise, why do you think that after 5 years in the entertainment industry, all the characters you take on are villains? Qin Yan not only took on all the villains, but also rose to fame by acting villains and directly became an actor, not all thanks to his stunning face. It's been so long, but he still hasn't realized it. Qin Yan fell silent, lost in thought as he watched the live broadcast on his phone page. The act of the two people frantically tapping on their phones was too obvious, which made the audience in the live broadcast curious and kept scrolling bullet comments. However, at this moment, a sharp-eyed netizen realized that something was wrong. The live broadcast on Qin Yan's phone screen is exactly Zhou Yiyao's live broadcast room, and he has also followed her. A villainous actor is following a game female anchor, and now they are still on the same variety show. Gourd-eating netizens suddenly smell the smell of gossip. He quietly took screenshots of what he saw and pasted a comparison image of the live broadcast room. #shocking. Qin Yingdi is actually a fan of Zhou Yiyao. With the support of variety shows, this entry has surged to the hot search. Daily wall climbing. Although I'm worried about teacher Qin being so aggressive and not being able to find a girlfriend, this sister has just divorced. Teacher Qin must remain calm. Woo. Don't be too absurd. Completely unexpected development. What kind of variety show is this? How could it be so catchy? I moved the Civil Affairs Bureau here. But it's a bit awkward. When you see teacher Qin watching Zhou Yiyao's live broadcast, her eyes are so gentle. These two handsome men and beautiful women are indeed pleasing to the eye. This assassin is not very calm. Upstairs, wake up, you can't knock around. The netizen upstairs not only stumbled, but also casually created a Weibo super chat for the couple, becoming the biggest fan leader of opinion Zhong Qin. But Zhou Yiyao was unaware of this, she was playing a 5v5 gunfight game. The match between the two sides has reached the match point, and the atmosphere of the game has become somewhat tense. Just this game had an unstable start, and not long after, two teammates who were attacking had already died in action. A rough and wild male voice came from the game earphones, "TSK, hurry up and play, quickly finish the next round." Zhou Yiyao glanced at the small map in the upper right corner, and after confirming that there were 4 red dots at point A, the cutter quickly rushed into point B. She didn't hear any footsteps in her earphones. After searching for some, she quickly placed a bomb in front of a wooden coffin. At this point, there were no more teammates left, but there were still 3 enemies on the opposite side. If she is killed by someone on the opposite side, the bomb she dropped will soon be dismantled, and the game will end. After hearing the alarm of the bomb, the team member on the opposite side began to quickly move back to defense B. At this moment, Zhou Yiyao threw a smoke bomb and blocked a path, confusing the other party's sight. Relying on the advantage of our own number of people, it is inevitable that we have the courage to sneak out of that road, mixed with smoke. In an instant, a sand eagle nodded and fell to the ground. The scene instantly turned into 1-2. While the smoke was still lingering, Zhou Yiyao took cover and waited for the next person to arrive. The remaining two seemed to have determined her position upon hearing the gunshots and began charging towards B together. Zhou Yiyao heard the footsteps of the enemy in her earphones, but remained calm and composed, sliding the mouse with her right hand and a hint of laughter on her lips. "Are you still trying to stump her?" Suddenly, her phone rang with a buzzing sound. Zhou Yiyao frowned and didn't see who the caller was, so she took off her headphones and continued operating the phone with her ears and shoulders, without any delay. The audience who saw this were all sweating for her. "She wants to answer the phone while playing games." Zhou Yiyao asked indifferently, "Who is it?" The tone on the other end of the phone is very unpleasant, and you can hear roaring and angry sounds even without opening the amplification. "Zhou Yiyao, do you insist on putting me to death?" "Tisk, it's a bit unlucky." Zhou Yiyao stared intently at the screen and said, "What did I do? Did I find someone to beat you up or poured paint on your doorstep?" In the game, the enemy threw a burning bottle in her direction, causing Zhou Yiyao to frown and quickly change positions. "Zhou Yiyao, my grandfather is still lying in the hospital, and the company is also on the brink of death. Are you still a human being? You're still talking to a lawyer about property division with me now." End of this chapter. Chapter 6. No, I'm not. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. No, I'm not. Are you still a human being? You're still talking to a lawyer about property division with me now. Lu Jian held the phone in his hand, unable to conceal the fatigue in his eyes. He thought it was just an ordinary divorce, but who knew this damn woman could be so cruel? He, who had originally planned to divorce and share half of his wealth, was momentarily stunned as he looked at the income of last week's Yiyao written in black and white. Why does this woman only have so little money? Zhou Yiyao's family is very wealthy. He has always known, but he forgot. Since Zhou Yiyao married him, she has become a housewife, relying entirely on the money she saved up before to support her. So after the divorce, not only did he not receive any money, but he also had to put his own money into it. Doesn't Zhou Yiyao know that the Lu Group is on the brink of death, and that his grandfather's hospitalization expenses were only paid after he sold his watch worth 100,000 yuan? At this moment, there was a long sigh of relief and indifference on the other end of the phone. "What's wrong? Is there anything unreasonable?" The game has ended and bounced to the settlement interface. Zhou Yiyao scored a total of 32 heads, with 12 assists and no record of death. Her head-breaking rate reached an astonishing 50%. The popularity of the live broadcast room has skyrocketed again, and the hot search has also surged to several, causing the director to smile and lie leisurely on the cloth chair. Lost and blackened. When can I have this kind of operation? Damn it. Frog goes to Mustard Marshall. Damn it, have you seen the operation of Job's tears just now? It's like being a god, the sword is not old. Online love caught 6,000 times. Those who just said that Job's tears are making black technology stand up for me. Give me a punch. After Zhou Yiyao closed the game interface, there was no ripple on her face. If you have any questions, go to court. Her eyes dimmed and her gaze fell on the wrist of her right hand. The tragic fate of the previous life is still vividly remembered, and she has no reason to pity this man. Zhou Yiyao, we have been married for a year, do you insist on killing everyone like this? She sneered with a hint of contempt in her eyes. Lu Jian, you also know that our marriage has been going on for a whole year. Think about it yourself, what have you done this year? The person across from the microphone remained silent for a long time, almost gritting their teeth and saying. Zhou Yiyao, I'm sorry for you, but you can't do this either. My grandfather is still lying in the hospital department. Zhou Yiyao got tired of listening and directly retorted. Your grandfather was hospitalized, isn't that the result of your own efforts? It's useless crying about poverty in my place. If you don't execute it, just wait for a lawsuit. The camera guy was holding the machine and holding his breath, looking at the indifferent woman in front of him with a puzzled expression in his heart. Although it sounds like there's nothing wrong with it, there seems to be something strange about it. Also, don't call me anymore. If you have any questions, please contact my lawyer directly. I don't want to hear your voice. After finishing this sentence, Zhou Yiyao hung up decisively without giving the other party any chance to react. The melon-eating crowd in the live broadcast room is boiling again. Some accuse Zhou Yiyao of being cold-blooded, some say she did well, some say she is skilled in gaming, and some say she pretended. She looked at the dazzling barrage of bullets, as if her mind had returned to the beginning of her live broadcast in the previous life. But now Zhou Yiyao is not afraid of these things. These black reviews are really a drop in the bucket compared to back then. Before even the cameraman could react, Zhou Yiyao suddenly stood up and rushed out of the private door, causing chaos in the live broadcast room. Qin Yan looked at the live broadcast room on his phone screen, his eyes unclear and uninterested. Zhou Yiyao surprisingly married Lu Jian for a year, and from her emotions, Lu Jian didn't treat her well that year. His heart tightened at the thought of this. He is regretful. Why didn't she appear in her life earlier? The cameraman is currently anxiously wandering around, and the vast internet cafe is unable to find any trace of Zhou Yiyao. Her phone was also left in the private room, completely unreachable, so they had to give up and sit in place waiting. Not long after, the door opened. Zhou Yiyao looked at the disheartened camera guy with a skeptical expression, but she still meticulously wiped her fingers with a tissue. Did something happen when I went to wash my hands? Damn a plant. So Zhou Yiyao thought her ex-husband's phone was unlucky and went to wash her hands. Ha ha ha, I'm laughing to death. Caught bamboo shoots. Surprisingly, it was this kind of reversal. I thought Zhou Yiyao was angry and left directly. Centenarian stealing home. To be honest, Zhou Yiyao's gaming skills are really amazing. He can operate while making phone calls. Bitter tea purple. I'm laughing to death. I just came over from Lu Jian's live broadcast room, and his face is so bad. Yao Yao is so aggressive. Worship. JDP, on the other side, Lu Jian sat on the sofa with a gloomy face, and dialed the number, which was already unreachable. He finally realized that Zhou Yiyao was here for real this time. Chen Min beside him pulled him to the entrance close to the ward, avoiding the camera and speaking softly. Please talk to Yao Yao again, otherwise we won't be able to make up for your grandfather's medical expenses today. Tang Yan was holding the chicken soup stewed for his grandfather in his hand. Just as he was about to enter, he heard all of this outside the hospital room. Are those things from Lu Jian all given by Zhou Yiyao? But he clearly said it was all his own property, and she was also willing to stay by Lu Jian's side for the sake of the Lu family's property. But now seeing that he couldn't even afford his own medical expenses, Tang Yan couldn't help but feel a sense of resignation, but also a sense of unwillingness. She stayed by Lu Jian's side for a year, and the last penny didn't enter her pocket. There were also many negative news about her yesterday, and as she couldn't become Mrs. Lu Jiafu, she had to quickly withdraw. Thinking of a camera taking pictures of herself and quickly concealing the strange sensation in her eyes, she couldn't just turn around and leave, leaving someone speechless. Tang Yan put on a well-behaved look and pushed the door open as he walked in, with a hint of concern on his face, as if he was worried about his grandfather's physical condition. As soon as Lu Jian saw her coming, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. He wanted to reach out and grab Tang Yan's hand, but she avoided her. Tang Yan's smile remained unchanged, but it inexplicably made people feel distant. She lifted the insulated box on her handle, making a soft voice as if afraid of disturbing the elderly inside. My brother said my grandfather was sick, so I stewed some chicken soup. Chen Min looked at the woman with a cold face, feeling extremely angry. If it weren't for this fox spirit seducing her son, Zhou Yiyao wouldn't have divorced Lu Jian, and the Lu family wouldn't have ended up like this. Zhou Yiyao is such a big money tree. She used to be so obedient to her own son, but now she says she will divorce her own son. Even if her son is doing anything wrong, this woman is still standing beside him making a fuss. Chen Min sternly rebuked, "How could you be so naughty? What have you done to the Lu family?" Tang Yan was thinking about how to shake off the dragging oil bottle of Lu Jian when Chen Min's words flashed a hint of joy in her eyes. Pitifully biting his lower lip, his eyes turning red, "No, I'm not." End of this chapter. Chapter 7. My Wife I Never Met. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. My wife I never met. No, I'm not. If it weren't for you, as a woman, could our Lu family have become what we are now? You fox spirit. Chen Mingyue became more and more agitated as he reached out and started pushing and shoving Tang Yan in the ward, creating a chaotic scene. The camera guy is also very panicked. Currently, the program's ratings are skyrocketing. Should we go and persuade him to fight? Lu Jian quickly reacted, and before he could stop it, he saw Tang Yan being pushed and thrown onto the floor tiles, with a layer of skin off his knee. The chicken soup in the insulation bucket was knocked over on the ground, as if it was steaming hot on the ground. The light yellow oil stains wet Tang Yan's pure white skirt, and she knelt on the ground, feeling extremely embarrassed. "Nian Nian, are you okay?" Lu Jian looked at the person on the ground with heartache and tried to reach out to help, but was ignored. In front of the camera, Tang Yan stood up stubbornly with tears streaming down his face, biting his lower lip and leaving the ward. Hesitation will be in vain. No, I'm foolish. Isn't this a variety show? How do I feel like I'm watching a TV series? I don't know what to say. Alas, there must be something hateful about the poor man. Listen to Lu's mother, I feel that they must have an affair, and his mother still knows it. Professional tea appreciation for 100 years. Hee, Tang Yan had to lean towards Lu Jian, causing a bloody mess. These two really have a similar odor. Toast not to eat. Laughing to death, my sister went to deliver chicken soup. Not only lovers can deliver it, right? Can some people talk through their brains? Why do they have such great malice towards a girl? Nian Nian Xiao Angel. It's just that my sister just broke her knee, and she didn't say anything about anyone in the Lu family. What else should she do? She's so good, why are you people still unwilling to let her go? The barrage skyrocketed again and captured several hot searches. Many ignorant onlookers, upon seeing the scene edited by the marketing account, couldn't help but sympathize with Tang Yan. Tang Yan kept wiping away her tears and entered the women's restroom under the camera. After confirming that the cameraman had not followed, she wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes. Thanks to Chen Min, she was able to shake off that man. Since the land blade is no longer useful, let's discard it. Just as she was thinking about how to deal with Zhou Yiyao, the phone beside her rang. It was the agent's phone. "Hello, Red Sister. You did a good job just now, Nian Nian. The company is washing your hands now, and the situation has turned around. However, don't get involved with Lu Jian again in the future." Tang Yan couldn't help feeling happy as he listened to Red Sister's praise, and then listened to the other person's words. "Nian Nian, our company values your variety show very much, and now the topic is still quite popular. Try to keep it to yourself. Also, it's better to speak less in front of Zhou Yiyao, as your reputation is still quite polarized. But as long as this period of time passes, netizens will forget about this matter. When the time comes, you can show yourself more, understand?" Tang Yan bit his lower lip and reluctantly agreed, "I know, Red Sister." As long as the public opinion passes, it's time for Tang Yan to make a comeback against Zhou Yiyao. Ah Chiu. Zhou Yiyao rubbed her nose and just finished playing a gunfight game, she stretched lazily. Job's tears sticker. A precious sword never grows old. My wife whom I have never met before. Ha ha ha, God TM's sword is not yet old. Who can refuse a woman who is skilled in both Luo Yu and Xiao Xiao Nai Yin, as well as a game thief? Such a person is recommended to be my wife directly. Jiao Hua Hua Hua. JDP, Job's tears getting married. Draw your sword upstairs, this is my wife. Breaking into a wall for sister. Really, just looking at these two faces makes me feel happy. I didn't expect that the goddess I had been in love with for 2 years would actually be a woman. Can the goddess take a look at me? I'm a thief in cooking, and I do all the household chores. Zhou Yiyao looked at the barrage and a beautiful curve curved her lips. At this moment, the phone screen next to Zhou Yiyao suddenly lit up and a WeChat message popped up. A contact named Y popped up on WeChat, and in the dialog box, the previous chat record was still from a year ago. Y, the live streaming status is good. Zhou Yiyao's heart warmed, and she didn't expect that this old fan who had been following her since the beginning of her live broadcast would still be following her. She curved her eyebrows and eyes, and replied. What about you? Did you get up from the 18th line and get confused? Why? I've won all the awards I should have, and now I'm not feeling confused. Well, it can be considered as a sweet experience after all the hardships. Why, yes. Zhou Yiyao was lost in thought as she watched the WeChat conversation with Y. Back then, she didn't even know how to use props in games, but now she can throw high difficulty props. Zhou Yiyao is a gameplay that she has gradually learned from the game, but soon there were rumors that she had started using black technology, and that's when she started getting to know Y. Under her understanding, Y is a member of the entertainment industry, just a small scumbag who doesn't even make it to the 18th tier. The two of them can be seen as huddling together to warm up and encourage each other. Finally, Zhou Yiyao successfully gained a large number of fans through video teaching, relying on her century-long dedication. Unfortunately, she was later suspended for a year due to the relationship with Lu Jian. Wei Yan noticed that Qin was too engrossed in watching the game live stream to disturb him. In no time, he found this photo of Job's tears on Weibo. It looks pretty, but it's just a bit familiar. Wei Yan touched his chin and muttered to himself. How does it look like you've seen it somewhere before? Immediately after, he saw the live broadcast link on Weibo, and only then did he realize that this Coix seed was actually a female guest who participated in the program with Qin Yan. He suddenly understood. At first, when Qin Yan named himself to be on this variety show, he was still puzzled. This program has no commercial value, the remuneration is not high, and the audience is still some lukewarm semi-ordinary people. At that time, people in the industry said that Qin Yan was the director's biological parents, but now he knows. Qin Yan is clearly plotting for a long time. Crazy, really crazy, knowing that the iron tree may bloom. But this also directly caught up with variety shows. Wei Yan swallowed his saliva and tentatively asked. Brother, do you know that Job's tears are Zhou Yiyao? Qin Yan leaned against the car window and raised his eyebrows, which goes without saying. The melon-eating crowd is once again frying the pan. The friend who had been hitting CP before, seeing Qin Yan admit it himself, began to make more peace, and the previously ignored super talk also became lively. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Has Teacher Qin started feeding candy by pressing his head? Happy money man. What kind of plot is this? How many characters is this? I don't know what to say for a while. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Looks so white and soft. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 looks so white and soft, hide your ears and steal the bell. But I don't think Teacher Qin has any interaction with Zhou Yiyao at all. Don't be so fussy, okay? I really admire you. How could you knock anything? Opinion Zhong Qin is true. It's strange for Teacher Qin to appear on such amateur programs as a celebrity, but if he came here because of this, it wouldn't be strange at all. Chiu. I'm dizzy, you've noticed a blind spot upstairs. However, since you've all thought of it, can you be more bold? It's known that Zhou Yiyao is secretly married, so is it possible that Teacher Qin isn't here to pursue stars? Misconception. No. Just calm down first. Although Teacher Qin did confirm it after Zhou Yiyao settled down, how did he know that this job's tears didn't show any face or make any sound? Qin Yan looked at these bullet comments, suppressed the corners of his mouth, raised his eyebrows, and then locked his phone screen. Netizens guessed well. He did indeed come for Zhou Yiyao. Originally, he watched Zhou Yiyao's constant attention to Lu Jian in the first episode, and he was almost giving up. Who knew that this first episode was coming to an end and there was a turning point? He has another chance. However, considering that Zhou Yiyao has just divorced, I don't know if she can accept contact with her. Many things still need to be done slowly. Halfway through Zhou Yiyao's round of renting an apartment, she suddenly saw her hot search on Weibo. Qin Yan Zhou Yiyao Who is Qin Yan? Zhou Yiyao clicked in and looked dumbfounded. The ice-faced man I met yesterday with a fierce appearance is actually an actor. Are there any rumors about their relationship now? Zhou Yiyao looks like an elderly subway person looking at her phone. One of the Weibo posts is called, "I moved the Civil Affairs Bureau here." Her post was well analyzed, and she even said that Qin Yan came to participate in this variety show for her. Her evaluation of this is, don't be too absurd. She only met this person yesterday, and there was no intersection in the show before. As for following her, perhaps it's because of a moment of hand sliding. For a while, Zhou Yiyao sympathized with Qin Yan and it was unlucky to have sex with a recently divorced woman. The audience in front of the live broadcast room is already seated and ready to watch the play. When the first guest arrived at the shared apartment, the director set a rule. Every weekend at 6 p.m., all guests must be gathered to have dinner together. This represents that the Shura field is about to begin. The director glanced at the time on the big screen, it was already 5:55, and Zhou Yiyao had not returned yet. Is she? The director furrowed his brows, and as soon as he saw that the situation was not right, he quickly prepared to call the staff. At this moment, the last female guest from the variety show appeared in the camera. Zhou Yiyao. She ran in panting on her high heels, a strong contrast hitting her face. Zhou Yiyao was wearing a black leather skirt with a suspender, which accentuated her extremely fair and tender skin tone, yet her face was slightly youthful. In contrast, the green coat tied at the hem of the skirt is particularly eye-catching. Qin Yan was slightly taken aback, his gaze fixed on her chubby face, and then he looked at the green coat under her skirt, lost in thought. It is obvious that this coat is not hers. I moved the Civil Affairs Bureau here. Teacher Qin looked at her, my CP is real. Damn it, she's being dressed up. Damn it, I'm stupid. After the divorce, she changed her style, and I just don't understand. She has such a good figure, and she wore strict and solid clothes for the first period. Is it still possible for her to become a makeup artist now? Bitter tea purple flying. Help, so white, looks so soft, AAA wholesale Xiao Wang. Upstairs, please put on some pants. Professional NPC. Hey, look at the green coat on her leather skirt, doesn't it look like she's a staff member? This week, Yiyao is afraid she might not be a Sea King. She just got divorced and hooked up with a camera. It's really hilarious. A brief love. Dizzy, just fell in love, the next second I shed my fans. Slum representative. How can someone have such dirty thoughts? This can be brain teaser. Zhou Yiyao finally took advantage of the gap in the meeting and noticed the jacket on her skirt. She quickly returned it to the staff. And at this moment, a video was being wildly circulated on the internet, with the copy of the video written in a few big characters. The beautiful sister is an elegant mechanic. Many surfers clicked on this title. The car in the video is flashing hazard warning lights, and the woman is wearing a leather camisole and an incongruous green jacket. Just beside the curb, he twisted and twisted the tire in an expressionless manner, which had nothing to do with elegance. She used a lot of effort holding the wrench in both hands and finally replaced the tires on the car. After changing into new tires, I stood up to take a breath, and then a beautiful side face was revealed in the video. She curved her brows and eyes, smiled at the man on the roadside, and said, "All right, we can drive now." Then the screen ended, and the comments section below had gone crazy. Chinese server LSP. Yulua Xuanxiu. She laughs so sweetly, she's crazy. I've fallen into the trap of my family, 8G surfer. Give netizens a minute, I want to know where this beautiful sister's car repair shop is. For this face, I have to go to the car repair shop every day. Sakata Xiaozhu. Wow. Sister killed me, woo-woo, I'm a little idiot who can't even pass the second subject. Tears run. JDP, the Weibo netizen who was surfing soon dug up the information about the little sister. What they didn't expect was that this little sister was actually a recently divorced woman, and she was also a previously popular esports female anchor, Coix. Hunan Wisdom Tooth Extraction. No, this program is clearly a variety show. Why do we have female guests change tires? Is this a game punishment? The staff who went to pick up the little sister this afternoon saw this and couldn't help but stand up to clarify for her. Apartment Slow Life Official. It's not a punishment, it's because the car had a flat tire halfway through. It's really thanks to the little sister at Zhou Yiyao that it didn't delay the normal live broadcast of the program. The netizens only calmed down their comments after seeing the staff come out to clarify. Subsequently, due to the little sister's tire change operation, the topic of discussion briefly escalated and directly rose to the top 3 on hot searches. Hashtag Zhou Yiyao spare tire hashtag following it is a large explosive word. The staff were almost pinned down when they saw the hot search, although the entry was not serious, fortunately the public opinion was under control. Many passers-by looked at the label and clicked in. I thought Zhou Yiyao's divorce had a reversal, but I didn't expect to be fans of the little girl's operation and start chasing variety shows. Variety shows are booming, but the director is completely unaware as he cuts through the program's flow on the side. Since everyone is present, let's start our dinner time. This dinner will be divided into groups by drawing lots. Divide into 2 groups, with 4 guests responsible for cooking and 4 guests responsible for purchasing. The few people who originally seemed calm were actually surging with undercurrents. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. I Get Carsick. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 I Get Carsick. Although there was a surge of undercurrents, no guests opposed the draw. Not long after, the draw began quickly and the teams were divided. The guests responsible for cooking are Lu Jian, Li Xiaoya, Jing Qing, and Li Leilei. The guests responsible for procurement are Zhou Yiyao, Qin Yan, Tang Yan, and Zhang Qilin. The atmosphere became somewhat awkward. Zhang Qilin smiled happily, actively adjusting the atmosphere and speaking up. Do you have anything you want to eat? Let's write it down and go buy it later. Chef Zhong, I want to have a mapo tofu. The girl in charge of the cooking group across from her raised her hand high, her eyes shining with foodies, and she swallowed her saliva. Zhou Yiyao couldn't help but focus her gaze on the 2 people. Before the car had a flat tire, she glanced at the promotional page of the program and had some impressions of the guests. Except for Qin Yan and Tang Yan Lu Jian whom she had met, the remaining few were all unfamiliar faces, and she couldn't help but take a few more glances. The speaker appeared to be around 27 or 8, probably the chef from a high-end hotel mentioned on the promotional page, Zhong. The girl who spoke to him looked very petite, with clear eyes, dressed in casual clothes and somewhat unkempt. He is the great god in the novel industry, Li Lele. Okay, what about the others? Zhou Yiyao listened to their conversation absent-mindedly, and accidentally caught a glimpse of Qin Yan, who was at a certain distance from her. She, who used to leave a good impression on the audience, is now stuffing mushrooms in the corner. The incident with Lu Jian did not have a significant impact on her. After confirming the menu for tonight, the group finally set off towards the entrance of the villa. Just as they were about to allocate vehicles for departure, a man chased out of the hall. Lu Jian's face was anxious, out of breath. Zhong Qilan, can I switch groups with you? He wants to take advantage of this procurement opportunity to explain clearly to Qin Yan and also try to negotiate with Zhou Yiyao's attitude. And Zhong Qilan is the head chef of Michelin Hotel, it would be great if you were responsible for cooking. Ah, this. Zhong Qilan touched his own head, feeling a bit conflicted for a moment. On the other hand, Qin Yan's face turned foul with a swoop. Zhong Qilan's careful thinking goes without saying. Qin Yan doesn't want the dog skin ointment to stick to him, but he doesn't want to cause any other trouble. Her current identity is too sensitive to oppose. On second thought, she was not the only one who disliked Lu Jian. Qin Yan's exploratory gaze fell on Zhou Yiyao, but he did not hear the expected words. At this moment, honest person Zhong Qilan had just returned from discussing with the director's team. The director certainly couldn't help but ask for it. These 4 people have already had a lot of topics today, and now with a change, the live broadcast room is even higher. Lu Jian was immediately transferred to their group. The audience in the live broadcast room couldn't sit still. Eating, sleeping, and looking for a boss. The director understands what we want to watch, I don't care. I have to give this show 5 stars. Don't get involved. What does this man want? He's going to cause trouble again, right? Iron pot stewed goose. I am a local dog and I love to watch. Shura Field. We need Shura Field. Dao How kidney deficiency child. Don't say, the charm of reciting is great. What Lu Jian's mother did this morning was too much. Now let's go to the crematorium for pursuing his wife. Professional tea appreciation for 100 years. Not a buddy, are you keeping it? 100 years of professional tea appreciation. Just divorced, isn't that how you use this wife-chasing crematorium? Reciting the little angel. Divorce means you're free. Where do you get so many prejudices? It doesn't matter who you fall in love with after divorce. As soon as these words were spoken, netizens couldn't sit still and posted on the internet one after another. Even if we vow to die, we must uncover the timeline, and Weibo Square is in chaos. And within the variety show, Qin Yan remained silent and observed Zhou Yiyao's expression. The woman pouted, with a hint of impatience on her face, and then eagerly touched her belly, as if she was hungry. The smile on the corner of his lips disappeared in an instant, and he spoke in a deep voice, "Can we leave now?" As soon as the actor spoke, the originally stalemate was instantly broken, and even if Qin Yan was not willing, he dared not drag it on any longer. Zhou Yiyao's eyes lit up and she instantly felt like she had come to life. She quickly stepped forward to pull the passenger door, but was overtaken by a large hand behind her. There was a hint of confusion in her clear pupils. Just as I was about to say, who was going to compete for the co-pilot with a contestant who had a chance of getting motion sickness, I turned my head and met a pair of pitch-black eyes. Qin Yan's powerful aura rushed towards him, and the air was invaded, gradually becoming thinner. With a buzzing sound, a large red character flashed through Zhou Yiyao's mind. Danger. She swallowed the words on her lips decisively. Seeing that the passenger door had been pulled open by Qin Yan, Zhou Yiyao quickly ran under the man's arm. Isn't it just a passenger seat? She's not sitting anymore. But is it just a car? She drives, she drives. Zhou Yiyao, without any affectation, opened the driver's door and sat in without hesitation. With a click, I fastened my seat belt and my movements were smooth and smooth. Qin Yan furrowed his eyebrows, and behind him came the voice of Lu Jian. Well, I can take the passenger seat. Before finishing his sentence, Qin Yan stepped into the passenger seat with long legs and looked at the man outside the car window with a cold expression. I get motion sickness. Okay. Lu Jian gave Zhou Yiyao a reluctant glance and went to the back row. Wei Yan, who watched the variety show live, was about to burst into tears. When my cousin used to shoot a 365-degree movie to hang Weiya, he never called for a card and passed everything, but now he is shouting for motion sickness here. Wei Yan suspected that it was intentional, but he was unsure and continued to watch. Qin Yan fastened his seat belt and handed the car key to Zhou Yiyao, the driver. He then leaned against the passenger seat, frowning and closing his eyes. Do you want to eat this? It will be better. The woman's voice came weakly from his ear, and when he opened his eyes, a separately packaged mint candy burst into his sight. Zhou Yiyao touched her nose and placed the sugar in front of the passenger seat. It would be better to eat this for motion sickness, she said, considering that Qin Yan, like herself, has a motion sickness constitution. She couldn't help but show some kindness, and Qin Yan appeared to be more serious than her. As soon as I got in the car, I started to close my eyes and rest. As the car started, Qin Yan raised his eyebrows and took the mint candy, his big hands bulging with veins. It took a few seconds before he tore open the packaging and put it in his mouth. A refreshing taste erupted on the tip of the tongue, with bursts of coolness and a hint of sweetness. Qin Yan closed his eyes and casually raised his broken eyebrows. It seems that he just pretended to be motion sick and looked very similar. Fake gun king. Help, if I'm not mistaken, Qin Yan just opened the passenger door for Zhou Yiyao, right? Why did this woman go to the driver's seat on her own? She's laughing at me. I brought the Civil Affairs Bureau here. Look who dares to say that Zhong Qin's opinion is fake. This wave of CP fans has gained a lot of points. Chiu. Damn it, it's so sweet for me. I have to take insulin. The other party is typing. Laughing to death. They were planning to find a new home right after their divorce, right? The female anchor has a trick. Has Teacher Qin eaten yet? Woo, don't, my Teacher Qin. Don't hang out with a recently divorced woman. Nian Xiao Angel. TSK, some people are really not behaving properly. They are ready to hold big money in the program. Who's barking in the dog? No, I'm thinking. Zhou Yiyao didn't do anything, did she? She just heard from Teacher Qin that she was motion sick and gave a mint candy. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Follow me, don't get lost. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Follow me, don't get lost. Tang Yan rolled his eyes and quickly took out a pack of sour plums from his bag. He leaned closer to the passenger seat and spoke softly. Teacher Qin, I have some sour plums here. Would you like to eat some if you get motion sickness? Qin Yan didn't even lift his eyelids, his voice was slightly cold. No need, I don't like sour food. Upon hearing this, Tang Yan had no choice but to sneak up and retrieve the sour plum. She had originally intended to gain a wave of goodwill in front of the audience but was unsuccessful. Lu Ligang was about to speak up when she was interrupted by her phone ringtone. Tang Yan frowned and leaned against the car window to read the text message on his phone. Red sister. Nian, don't show any signs during this period, avoid the limelight first. Red sister. After the live broadcast ends, what do you want to do? Tang Yan looked at the glowing phone screen and hooked his lips, his fingers quickly tapping on the screen. It's Nian Nian. Got it, Red Sister. Red Sister has always understood her, and since Lu Jian is useless, she naturally needs to plan for her future career. Originally, participating in the variety show this time was to lay the groundwork for entering the entertainment industry in the future. If we can get along with Qin Yan, will her future resources be limited? Thinking of this, Tang Yan secretly glanced at the man in the co-pilot. He had a strong sense of aggression in his facial features, but at this moment, with his eyes closed, he looked much softer, with a hint of sexiness in the darkness. Inexplicably, the man made some movements, with a broad hand covering half of his face. Tang Yan reluctantly withdrew his gaze. Zhou Yiyao didn't notice these and drove wholeheartedly. It wasn't long before she arrived at the destination of the purchase. Just now I couldn't get in touch with anyone, so Lu Jian quickly suggested after getting off the car. There are quite a few dishes to buy, why don't we act in groups? This way, it's faster. Zhou Yiyao rolled her eyes in an unseen place, and Lu Jian's expression was too obvious, almost putting all her thoughts on her face. If you want to get along with Tang Yan, just let's talk about it. We're just going through these twists and turns. The atmosphere once again became deadlocked, but with a flick of her finger, a magnetic male voice burst into Zhou Yiyao's ear, sounding as if she had hidden a hook. Qin Yan saw through but didn't say anything. He raised his lips and said, "Okay, then you can join Tang Yan's group. This man not only has a beautiful voice, but also loves to hear what he says." After Qin Yan finished speaking, he extended his long leg and took a few steps in the direction of Zhou Yiyao. He raised his eyebrows at her and said, "Follow me closely." His throat rolled up and down, and when he spoke again, his voice became noticeably hoarse. "Don't get lost." Zhou Yiyao's face blushed inexplicably, and her ears also blushed, but she obediently followed him. When entering the elevator from the underground garage, Qin Yan heard the woman behind him muttering. "Who would get lost? It's not like a child." Suddenly, his eyes curved, and a faint smile also appeared in his eyes. Wei Yan instantly understood Qin Yan's thoughts upon seeing this. This morning's incident, combined with the interaction between the two during the live broadcast, was broadcast word for word. His little heart was beating wildly, looking at the two people on the phone screen, as if he had returned to the year of his first love. He was also a pure-hearted boy back then. However, Zhou Yiyao is indeed good-looking, with a pair of clear peach blossom eyes. In addition to her innocence, she also carries some charm, which is simply seductive. Not only pure-hearted, but also blushing. Who doesn't feel confused? Not only him, but also the blood slots of the audience watching the live broadcast are empty. The woman who forcefully divorced yesterday is now like a non-aggressive little soft cat in front of the actor. The production team didn't mind the big picture, so they edited the clips and added text. Perhaps this is a chemical reaction between people. You don't need to become specific, just be yourself. This clip looks like an official announcement interface, and the barrage in the live broadcast room between the two is wildly popular. I moved the Civil Affairs Bureau here. Damn it, fast forward to married life, right? It's so sweet for me, Opinion Zhong Qin is true. Hehe, my CP is fake, hehe, I am fake, my CP won't be fake. Daily wall climbing. Teacher Qin and I are fighting for my wife, right? Zinniai, give me Zinniai. Eating, sleeping, looking for boss. That, upstairs, if I remember correctly, you were the only fan of Teacher Qin before, right? Daily wall climbing. What about Teacher Qin? His real name is Zhou Yiyao, hehe. Idiotic laughter. JDP, Shaolian Tong Huang. Well, I have an immature idea. If these two were to brew soy sauce, it would definitely be very flavorful. They have nosebleeds. JDP, bitter tea purple flying. Don't make me kneel down, please, write me a text quickly. The popularity of live streaming rooms is getting higher and higher, and opinions from Zhong Qin are quickly trending. The Super Talk has added a lot of CP fans, and the interaction between the two is so sweet that it's so sweet. Not only that, the people in the cooking group also surf the internet because they don't use ingredients. Li Xiaoye held her phone and sat on the sofa with a silly smile on her face, which caught Ching Cheng's attention. He leaned up and asked, "What are you looking at, laughing like this?" Li Xiaoye looked up and saw that it was him. She shared the link with him and answered truthfully, "Hee, I'm hitting CP." Ching Cheng was stunned for a moment, scratched his face with some confusion, and sat beside her. "I thought that after work, flower arrangers like you would just look at some landscape composition to enhance their beauty. I don't know how to look at these things." Li Xiaoye couldn't help but glare at him and retort when she couldn't agree. Beautiful things are often born from very small places. Besides, I've already finished work, why are you still looking at those things? Just like you, do you usually play basketball when you're not training? Yes, I do. How can you be so stubborn? Li Xiaoye raised her eyes, and the man's breath was within reach. Her eyes were moist, enveloped by the scent of youthful hormones. What did you say? She quickly turned her head with her red ears, and her fingertips curled up on the sofa. It's nothing, I said you worked hard, okay. Zheng Qing curled his lips and smiled, sensing a sense of anger from her words. His tone was somewhat pleasing, "Sister, I'll take you to watch my game when I have the chance." Li Xiaoye was disturbed by the sound of her sister, and as for what Zheng Qing said later, she was completely unaware, only knowing that her heart was beating like a drum. I dare not look at him. Baseball players in their early 20s are full of hormones, and their words are the same. Teasing without self-awareness. Zheng Qing saw the scene gradually cooling down and showed a bold smile. Sister, if you want to play CP, you still need to watch anime. I recommend this one to you. He kept introducing himself incessantly, and the anime of One Piece was playing on his phone. Zheng Cheng's eyes were very clear, but Li Xiaoye's heart gradually calmed down. They are indeed not people from the same world. She doesn't like watching anime. This is just a persona, the author has no intention of slandering the anime, and the author loves to watch it. Omega, Y, end of this chapter.